this and say, I can see that things are starting to change. How can I make it more? And you think about it again. And then, again, you imprint that next thought, the next set of thoughts, through repetition onto your subconscious emotional mind. You start feeling better again, and it expresses itself through your body, through the vibration in your body, which controls your behavior and your action. I want to repeat something I said. When you have the hand on the dial of your radio. Your radio is up here. It's your mind. You cannot dial a negative thought and a positive thought at the same time. You cannot listen to, I don't know, Indian radio station, but you cannot listen to the BBC and to another station at the same time. You either are on this frequency or you are on that frequency. The vibration of the problem is not the same vibration of the solution. When you ask a question, when you ask for something, you are in a certain vibration. Then you have to let that go to allow the vibration of the solution to come in. If you go on hanging into what you don't have, and I don't have this, and I can't do this, and I'm not this, and da 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 da, the solution is there, but you're not dialing into it. You dial with your mind into different frequencies, into different ideas, into different thoughts. And we live in such an amazing and perfect universe that your exterior completely reflects what is happening inside of you. Or it reflects what has momentum since a while. So maybe right now, sitting at the computer, you're like, well, I'm in a good space here. But it has to be repetitive to be transformative. It cannot be 1 second you're in a good space, then for the rest of the day you're going with that momentum of the old way of thinking. This is how you take an idea and you make it a reality. This is exactly how you do it. And you use the higher faculties of your mind to do this. And on your way, intuition will often tell you, speak to that person. Go there, turn that corner, and bang, you'll bump into someone you've been looking for and whose help you need. You know? But you have to be willing to take the first step. And this is where everyone has a problem, making the decision. I will make the decision tomorrow. I will make the decision when I have enough money, when my kids are grown up. I will make the decision. I will decide to, step towards my goal, really get involved when I have more time, when I'm retired, when this. A decision is something you make now. You never make a decision tomorrow. Because when tomorrow comes, those circumstances on whose head you have put the crown are still there. And maybe a few more that you couldn't foresee. How are we so far? Give me a raise of hands if this is making sense. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right. This would not be a complete course if I did not have an answer. All right, now we are going to understand why we don't take that decision and how, when we do take the decision, we fail again and again and things don't work out. The terror barrier. So I'm going to go through the 4 stages, the 4 stages on this page. And these 4 stages, can you see the writing or is it a bit pale? You see here, idea. Can somebody just let me know if this is visible to you? Okay. Stage 1, this is the state of bondage. This is the one we have already looked at yesterday. You have X ideas. X represents your status quo, the thoughts and the ideas that you have in your mind where you are today, on that band of frequencies that we looked at. Your results, your thoughts, your emotions, everything matches your actions and behavior. It all fits into this. So you have X kind of thoughts, you have X kind of emotions. X thoughts imprint themselves onto your subconscious mind. You're planting them there. The subconscious mind cannot make out what is true and not true, so it agrees with everything you put there and it gets emotionally involved. Those emotions are impressed and expressed through the body, through the X vibrations that your body then feels, and your actions and behavior reflect X vibration, and the universe gives you X results. And then you look at this and then you continue. Yeah? Thoughts, emotions are behavior, and your body is the action part. We are constantly expressing to the outer world. This is what we do every day. Most people are comfortable here because it's familiar. This is the familiar. Now you have taken your imagination and you have created a beautiful idea. We call the idea why idea. And this is the second state that we call reason, state of reason. This why idea is now held in your mind and you think about it. You think about it and you think about it and you imagine, you see the picture and you imagine it, but you do not get emotionally involved. You do not make the decision to go towards this. You just think about it. So your subconscious mind remains with the X programming, which is your paradigms, and your body vibrates with the X vibration, and your results stay X results. There is no change. Now, this is where most people lose faith in visualization. I visualized, 10 years, I've visualized that I wanted to do something like this. I imagined, I visualized every day faithfully. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. So this is the stage of reason. Nothing changes. Then, now you do the next state, which is the state of conflict, because now you are imprinting this. You have thought about it so much, you're not letting go, and you are starting to get emotionally involved with the idea. And when you get emotionally involved with the idea, you have Y and X on the subconscious mind. And Y and X are like oil and water. They don't mix. They don't mix. So what happens? You have conflict in your subconscious mind, which is the part that controls your behavior and your actions. So your results are confused at best. Suddenly things fall apart in your life. You have no electricity at home for 2 days. This is an expression, this is a result of when you try to take the first step towards your goal now. We're laughing, but I'm serious. Something else would happen. We get accidents, we get sick, we it happened to me. When I did this, I went through the 6-month program. There's a chapter called The Terror Barrier. I'm sharing this with you. Before the chapter, that was chapter 7, chapter 6, when I finished chapter 6, I hit the terror barrier full on. I couldn't think anymore. Nothing worked. I felt like I was losing everything I had. I had doubts, I had fears, but more than that, I just felt unwell in my body because your subconscious mind, your paradigms are hardwired to your nervous system. And I will explain later why it is so. It is genetically so that we survive in the past, right? We are still genetically wired like the caveman. You have to understand that. So when life is confused and you feel really unwell in your body, and most people then, this is what you call the terror barrier. You hit the terror barrier and zoop, you go straight back into status quo. You go back to X because X is familiar. Yes, I'm doing all these compromises, but at least I'm safe. At least now things are working. At least I can think clearly again. Yes. And where I come from, this terror barrier is the justification so many times to not take that step beyond your paradigms, outside to the next thing. Right? Now, what do you do when you're here? What do you do when you're hitting the terror barrier? What can you do? You use your reason and you say, wait a minute. Yes, I can see all this is happening, and I'm understanding that in my subconscious mind, my new idea, the positive feelings and emotions and the fear-based emotions that have been planted there long before I was aware of it. These two are not mixing. So sometimes I feel happy, the next minute I'm really upset, and I have no, it's like woo, woo, woo. I'm serious. Without a mentor, you don't go through here. You don't go through. You just swing straight back there and say, another time. I'll do it another time. This is not right for me. This is not the time for me. It is never the time for you, because you will always hit this when you try to move towards your why type idea. Now, what do? You use your reasoning and you say, okay, I know what's happening, and I choose to stick with my idea. And I'm going to continue every day writing it down in the morning, in the evening. And I'm going to get emotionally involved when I do that. And during the day, I'm setting an alarm every hour. And when the alarm rings, I'm going to go like, wow, and I'm going to use my imagination to jump frequencies, like I showed you on the frequency chart, straight to my goal and say, even for 2 minutes, I'm just going to say, wow, wouldn't it be nice? How nice would that feel? And slowly what happens, because of the repetition, you break through to freedom. And what is freedom? Freedom is when you have a why idea in your thoughts. Your emotions are now why. Your new paradigms are in harmony with your goal. And that expresses itself in a why vibration, which draws from the universe the why result. And you have manifested your idea into, it has taken form. You have brought it into form. You have to bring it into form. And this we are capable of doing. As individualized spiritual beings, we can take an idea and bring it into form, and the only thing that is in the way are our paradigms, is our programming. So if we shift our programming, if we replace it with a new programming, and programming, yes, it takes time and it takes determination, and as you can see, terror barrier is waiting for you. But stick with it. We have these higher faculties. We have the will to focus. We have the imagination to instantly take us to that frequency. Now, anytime. I want to explain something really important to you. This is something I learned in another workshop. Our brain. I'm going to explain to you how on a physical level we experience the terror barrier. This is the neocortex. You are aware that our brain has in the frontal lobe a part called the neocortex. The neocortex is where we do all our forward thinking, planning, we have clear thoughts. This is the most evolved part of our brain. It takes 25% of your body's energy to run this part of your brain. That's why you're so tired after you study and learn. You need to go and eat something. Students are tired. And this part of the brain works on the alpha frequency. The alpha frequency is the frequency in which your thoughts and your mind are the most clear and creative and productive. When we were cavemen and we were living in caves, we needed to have genetically inbuilt a system that would keep us close to the tribe and that would keep us alive in face of danger. So the way our paradigms are formed and the way our mind is open to receiving programming at a young age had a function and has a function, because it stops you, yes, from putting your hand on the stove or from stepping off a high ledge or something like that. It has a function. And when we were cavemen, it kept us close to the tribe, and the tribes were moving, so everyone had to understand and be in alignment with how the tribe functioned. This is now how we are in alignment with how our families function, how our culture functions. Okay? Now, when we faced a tiger or an oncoming mammoth or a flow of lava, before we were, developed to this point, we had a system, and we still have this system. It's called the limbic gland, the limbic system. When you are faced with danger, when you are faced with stress, when you are faced with fear, this shuts the blood flow from going here, and it sends it back down the spinal cord, and it sends the blood into your legs and into your arms so that you can run away from danger and you can fight the enemy. Now, what happens when your blood flow is cut off from your neocortex? Your brain becomes like cotton. You feel like you have cotton in your head instead of a brain. You can't think a clear thought. When you are in traffic and somebody suddenly cuts in front of you, this happens, boom, immediately. When you get a diagnosis of an illness, boom, this happens. Anytime, any stress, anytime you are moving out of the familiar safe zone, mentally or physically, this thing cuts off your blood flow. This is why we feel physically odd and unwell and we can't think clearly. If you observe yourself, you will find that when you are about to do something, or when fear hits in, or when you get stressed about something, you can't think, and you actually feel like here there's cotton inside. And of course we get emotional, we get angry, we blame people, we blame the circumstances, but you have no blood flow to your neocortex. So we are still programmed like the caveman. When you understand this and you're hitting the terror barrier and you say, okay, I know what's happening. My programming is telling me that I'm about to move into an unknown zone. I'm about to step into the unknown. And this is the natural reaction of my body. But how do I come out of this? I can change my physical location, because it is hardwired to our bodies and our nervous system. So when you remove yourself from that place where you are at the time when you're getting that fear thing, and you go out for a walk, or you go for a coffee, or you go to the beach, or you do something else, this can resume. But understanding this is your biggest advantage, because people who don't understand this have no reason to continue moving into the unknown, moving towards a goal that they have no idea how to reach. And who is going to be the person who has these 6 higher faculties? And who is going to be the person who encourages you to do this? It's you, your understanding. People around you who are used to you being a certain person, acting in a certain way, doing a certain thing, for them that works, because it fits into their paradigm as well. We have group paradigms. Please don't do anything different, otherwise we will stop talking to you, we will judge you, we will talk about you behind your back. Yes. But the beautiful thing is, once you start doing that, you will meet new people, you will attract people who will support you in what you're doing, because this is how the universe works. It will always bring to you the necessary tools and the necessary aid for you to reach your goal. Now, just the way fear is based on assumption, faith is also based on something you have no proof of, but faith that is built on knowledge and understanding is your key to freedom. After this workshop, you can choose to carry on as you did before, and you can say, oh, I did another workshop, nothing happened. It's up to you. You have infinite potential. You don't even know what you're capable of doing or achieving, or who you can actually be, and how your life can look, how many people you can give to and enrich their lives if you wanted to. All right, this has been kind of non-stop, so I'm going to take questions. Any questions coming up? And this information only works if you actually can accept the fact that you are a spiritual being. You have a mind, you have a subconscious mind, you have a body. But this energy that is flowing to and through you is also around you, and is also individualized around you, and is the part that grows with you and wants to express itself through you and with you. And that becomes the base of everything. And that is why this path, this teaching spoke to me, because it is firmly grounded in understanding who we really are and what we are really on this planet to do. You know, we're not here to, we have to awaken, we have to wake our minds up, we have to understand how things work, we have to study and take risks. Yes, tell me. Okay, you can relate it to anything. This idea can be how much I earn. It can be How creative am I? How creative I am. It is related to every aspect of your life. So if you want to relate this to pottery and to earning and to money, you will have faced the same paradigm. It is not that you don't have a paradigm about these things. Your present work, your present situation, your present results express what is in your subconscious mind. It expresses the emotions and the programming in your subconscious mind that also control your thinking, your worldview, your view of yourself. Self-image. Imagine that you constantly tell yourself, I'm not so creative, and you see pictures of other people's work and you say, wow, they're so good, and you put yourself down, oh, I can never make something like that. I'm not creative enough, I'm not good enough, I never went to that school and that school. But actually, I'll tell you, the greatest geniuses this world has had, including Emerson and others who have invented things, they never went through a proper schooling. That's all bullshit. That's all our programming. So you apply this, you choose whatever you want to apply it to, but whatever you choose is going to require this process. It is going to require you to understand what is it in me that is blocking the money from coming? What is it in me that expects me to fail? What is it in me, in my programming, that is telling me that this is how much I'm going to make and I don't want to make more than that? And it's limiting my whole life, my whole everything. What are our limiting beliefs? You need to figure out X. And then when you figure out X, you then focus and use your will on the opposite thing, on the thing that you want. Because the thing that you're wanting comes out of you. It is as much a part of your being as is the programming. It is almost like the polar opposite of your programming is what you want. So, focus on what you want, write it down, then write yourself a letter of encouragement and say, you are the most amazing creative being on the planet. You are God's highest form of creation. Each one of us is. How have we been programmed to diminish ourselves and to make ourselves small? We have only learned to focus on outer circumstances, and we've learned to identify ourselves with the last, most limited part of our beings, which is the body. This understanding you can apply to any part of your life. The prerequisite for change is want. If you don't want, if you want something so and so, maybe a little now, and sometimes I want it and sometimes I don't, your life results will mirror that. Sometimes you'll have, sometimes you won't. You have to set your compass. Once you have a direction, then you can use your will and focus your mind on that direction. But you have no direction, what are you going to focus on? 20 things? Any other questions? They're fixed in your subconscious mind, not in your head. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. I understand. I totally understand because I grew up in India. And I think it's the same anywhere in the world. So this thing that you're talking about, you address with that letter that your best friend writes to you. What do you think your best friend would tell you? Would your best friend say you better don't do anything differently because you know very well that everyone around you will not be happy about it? Is that what you would say to your best friend who had your goal? Is that how you would speak to her and say, I mean, come on, who do you think you are? Is that what your best friend would say to you? Or would your best friend say, don't you dare let anybody else's opinion matter? Because it's not easy. And that is why we tiptoe through life until we make it safely to death without anybody criticizing us. However, people are so volatile and they are so unstable in what they want from you. Once they want you to be like this, the next time they want you to be like that. Somebody else wants you to be like that. You can bend yourself backwards and tie yourself up in knots and they will not be happy because they have a habit of criticizing. This is their habit. You can't go around with a board that says, everybody, I've decided that you're all not going to criticize me anymore. You can't expect other people to change. But the question is, are you going to continue trying to fit into a role that is no longer you? It may have been for a while. I'm not saying it's not. We move. But what are you willing to sacrifice? Your freedom, your joy, your abundance, your effectiveness in the world. We are here to shine in the world and to uplift others and to be these flares of light. And it makes people around us very uncomfortable when you start changing because you are putting in front of them the possibility or even the opportunity that they could also change. And nobody wants to change willingly. People don't want to change. They don't want to be questioned. They are in their paradigms. They are in that box, and that box for them spells safety and correctness, and this is right. Because my belief system has been trained to think this. When I was little, how does a little child get to decide what you're going to do, how you see the world, what the world means to you, what people around you mean to you, and what your self-image is for the rest of your life? How ridiculous is that? That is our caveman programming. We don't need it to survive today. There is no tiger outside. Women are financially able to be independent, and especially if they start thinking they can, man, can they do it? We can do whatever we set our minds to do because we are spiritual beings with infinite potential. And our lives so far have been so meaningful because they have brought us to this point where you can now say, everything that I've become, I want to use consciously and with love. Now you do. Now you do. But it is work. It is work. It is repeating. It is writing every day. It is putting an alarm. It is meditating and it is studying. I'm going to give you a list of books to read, and to read one book, if you read it, it's a small book. It's by Genevieve Berend. She was the disciple of Thomas Troward, who was a contemporary of Sri Aurobindo, and he was a judge in the Punjab during the occupation for a bit. And I believe that he took the Vedic knowledge with him back to England, and he's written books. If you didn't know who wrote them, you would think it's Sri Aurobindo. He has been a lecturer. He was in the Edinburgh University, and one of his famous books is called The Door Lectures. And when you try to read the Door Lectures, it's hard. It's study material. It is so. But the principles that he describes and that Sri Aurobindo writes about are the same, about this universal divine, and about what human beings, who we really are, and how we need to awaken to our potential so that we can start creating the world we want to live in. Do you want to live in the world that you're stepping out into now every day? That world has been created by people who have not known how to use their imagination to create what they want, or who have used it to create unconsciously. But when you come from consciousness, when you come from awareness, your creative power is magnified by 1,000 times. It's more powerful than what you're doing now today. Creating small things with a lot of effort, pushing against this, pushing against that. The creative process is to create something new, not to push against what is existing. Don't go out and convince other people. Don't share what I've told you in this workshop with other people unless they are asking and showing interest. Because this is new for you. This is a new neurological pathway that we are trying to form in your mind. And it can be extinguished with the harshness of somebody's comment. That is why when I hold a workshop like this, I try to form a group and I offer to take you further. Because in a group like this, you're all in the same state, you're all exploring, and you can support each other and share your wins with each other. And so now we come to the part where I tell you that I am a consultant with the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and this 6-month program, why is it 6 months? Because it takes time to shift your paradigm. It takes time for you to understand and to deeply implement what you're learning, the ideas that I'm sharing today. I have just taken the ideas out of the 6-month program to share with you because I find them so liberating and so, it was really like someone took my head and shook it around and says, this is how it works. You take a glass of water and you think to the water, I love you, you're beautiful. The molecules change in that water. This is scientific. I'm not making up woo-woo stories. This is not wishful thinking. Your thoughts can alter matter. It's measured. Even iron, a piece of iron. Now they have such sensitive tools, they can measure how matter responds to thought. Our bodies are made of 98% of water. You are telling yourself stuff all the time, that water is changing. And then eventually you get sick. I'm not good, I'm not beautiful, I need this to be accepted, I'm not worthy, or look at you, I can't stand the sight of myself. The work we are going to do together, if you decide to work with me, is standing in front of the mirror and telling yourself, I love you, you are amazing, 10 times, loudly, with conviction. The first time I tried, nothing came out of my mouth. That is how blocked we are. This is real transformative work. It is not in your intellect. Your intellect has nothing much to do with it. You use your intellectual higher faculties. That's how you use your intellect. You use the imagination to create what you want. You use a will to focus on that, on the positive aspect. You use your perception to find something good in everything around you. We have the ability to do that. If that man in the Nazi camp could find meaning at that point with those circumstances, how spoiled are we? So 2 of you have asked me to do the one-on-one session. I'm waiting for the other 2 to step up and really stand for yourself, stand for what you want. And if you think that what you want isn't worth standing up for and writing yourself an encouraging letter, then it's not really what you want. And it's a B-type goal. It's something that you know that, oh, I have to do this and this and this and I will achieve it. And you're moving sideways. All right, questions? We have 10 minutes. I will send you pictures of all the charts that I've drawn. And you already have the 2 workshops replay, so you will get this one as well. Make the most of it, and then I will send you a list of books that I hope you find the time to read. Finding the time, again, don't let your paradigms tell you you don't have the time. Don't let circumstances dictate what you do, how you grow, your understanding of yourself and your journey towards a vibrant and empowered life. I'm doing it, I'm experiencing it, it's amazing. This thing behind you, this chart, flip chart board, it came into my life just 2 days before the workshop. I'm in England, I'm staying with friends, I'm not at home. This just came out of the blue so that I could do this for you. It works. So the 6-month program is called Thinking into Results. And if you want to work with me and you would like to have my mentorship for 6 months through a step-by-step method, proven, and millions of people have done it and have achieved their goals, method of transformation. And you can use this method, like I said, you can use it for your clay work, you can use it for your creativity, you can use it for the money you make from a show, you can use it for anything. And what was your old paradigm, what your new paradigm that you create will at some point need to be changed again. But once you understand this principle, you won't be afraid to step into the unknown again and again. Bob Proctor says, when you're afraid to do something, but you know it is the right thing to do, do it, because that's how you know that you're going to grow. When you're afraid and you're not sure it's the right thing or it doesn't feel like a good thing to do, then don't do it. But if you're afraid and you know that the thing you're about to do is right for you, then do it. Make that decision. Take that step. So, Rachna, Nalini, please come on with your video and your microphones. Very good. Very good. 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 You remember that I started the workshop with the saying that good is the greatest enemy of great is good, because good is so hard to leave behind in search of great. So as long as you are on your way and you are moving towards your goal, that is wonderful, and I hope that this information really helps you. That's the purpose of this workshop, is to give you the tools, and you can use the tools yes, the 6 higher faculties of the mind we have to apply. That's what creates the order, and order is the highest rule, the highest kind of if you have order, then you are so effective. Wonderful. So Yamini, Nalini, any questions? Sorry. Okay, I will. Sonia, what do you have to say? Wise one. Right. And your paradigm always sounds like your own voice. You see, this is the confusing thing, and this is why, if you have somebody who is mentoring you, they can be the mirror and say, wait a minute, that's not right, because when we hear our own reasoning and objections in our own voice, we just tend to accept it. Right. Yeah. Yes. Mm. 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 Of course it can, but why are we waiting for tragedy? You know, then so this is the way that you can start your own motion, and it can be a joyful journey and nobody has to pay a price. Yeah. So I just wanted to write something down because um, talking about different areas in life, I have come to the conclusion, because of my other mentors that I've been studying with, that there are 4 areas in life that we can set goals in. And it's easier when we are more specific. So, for example, physically, I want a life where, so here you have the marathons, you have the sports, things, but that doesn't cover everything, does it? Then, vocationally, I want a life where, you finish that sentence. Then, economically, I want a life, sorry, where I can go wherever I want to, where I can do whatever I want to, where I can help whoever I want to help. Money it gives you the ability to do far more good than just for your own self and your own needs, right? Your own basic needs. And then emotionally, I want a life where and what is happening. I want a life where I'm living in harmony with my opportunity to make a significant difference for good, and that I'm on track with me. I want to live a life where I take my opportunity to make a significant difference for good, and a life in which I am in alignment with me, with who I really am. Not with someone who is defined by circumstances or by other people's opinions or by my old opinions or by whatever I've picked up and identified myself with. There is another you. There is the you now, and there is another you waiting for you to grow into her. Okay? If you imagine that the universe, you see, my workshop is called Clay to Life. It is because just the way we take clay and give it form, and we are aware of this process. You cannot take a piece of clay, say this is a teapot, and boom, it becomes a teapot just because you visualized it, right? Same thing applies. Same thing applies for life. The substance, this great thinking, universal substance, mind that responds to every thought, when you realize how responsive it is, you start you start feeling like you are really the artist, you are really the one who can create your life and create a world that you want to live in. Your wants, this is very important for people who have grown up in big families. We are so trained away to think about ourselves. If you say, I want something, it's almost like you're betraying the greater group. But if you don't have anything to give, then you're also not really. You see, when you start taking steps that are good for you, that are true to yourself, you give everybody the gift of being able to do the same. You give an example. You know, people have asked, why should I improve myself? And there's a beautiful poem about that. And it says, you know, you try to be a better person because the little ones are watching you, the children. They take in everything you do. They want to be like you one day. And yes, maybe we are too old now, it doesn't apply to us, but my goal, my mission is really to work with women over 40, 50, and to say, kickstart your life now, girls. No, this is not the time where you sit back and say, I'm just going to let things run to an end. I'm going to tiptoe now till I sort of just pass out. You want to make a significant difference for good in this world. Silence.